Ian, we have a scumbag of the week. We haven't done a scumbag seller of the week in a while because it seemed like they were starting to repeat themselves. Whether it was people, selling retro pies with loaded games up, or if they were selling, like labels that they said were authentic, and we got on them, and people come after us for saying we have the right to label our games, and it's not the point. So we decided to put not a moratorium on it, but we couldn't find anything new. So this is retro-naut.com. What is this, Ian?
It is it appears to be a Raspberry Pi.
So it's a Raspberry Pi being sold for the deluxe one for $192. That you get 20,000 games, TurboGrafx, Sega Genesis, Neo Geo, MAME, whatever, Commodore 64, and many more, ColecoVision. Doesn't list Nintendo consoles, which I think is interesting. They want to keep the big N off their backs. I can almost guarantee you they're on there.
No,
they don't want to listen.
It says it right here.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you look at the standard Retronaut console, it tells you that it has Nintendo 64, NES, SNES, Game Boy Color.
Oh, the deluxe doesn't say that.
The deluxe one, I think, is, I think that's what it does. You go down just a little bit further. PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, N64, Neo Geo, MS-DOS, NES, SNES, Game Boy, Sega Genesis.
Oh, I don't see that. Is that on the game list?
It's on the web page.
Not the point.
The homepage.
All right.
They're not even smart enough to not do that.
Okay. Either way, you get like 4 USB ports. You get like, your little Bluetooth controller, it looks like. Your standard, like whatever, $25, $30 controller. There, you get $20,000 games. So you get a Kodi player. Okay. Are people still using that stuff? Why is this so egregious versus the other 1,000 people trying to sell their retro pies out there?
Well, because it's got the games loaded on it, and it's nearly $200.
That's egregious. What's the second reason it's egregious?
It's named after a popular retro gaming podcast.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
Yes. Which is not good, and I can't imagine the people who run that podcast are particularly happy with it. Who is that? That's Bob Mackey, and who's the other one? Is it Jeremy Parrish who does? Okay, I couldn't remember if that was actually his co-host for that. I know they do a lot of work together, but I didn't know if it was that.
And the logo for the Retronauts podcast is a space helmet. Space helmet.
Yeah.
Spaceman helmet. The logo for the Retronaut is a space helmet. It's eerily similar.
So yeah, it's kind of gross that whoever this is trying to play off the popularity of, a podcast that, has nothing to do with selling ROMs on a Raspberry Pi.
We never talk about the Retronauts podcast because, we don't bring it up. I'm sure it's a fine podcast. It's on Patreon. They usually talk about moments in time in their podcast or one particular game in their episodes.
Yeah, they do really good deep dives on all that stuff.
It's a deep dive podcast. The Pat and Ian podcast is a smorgasbord of cheap Chinese buffet items.
Yes.
You're not, but you get a lot of it. You get something you like. They do one thing. They do one dish. One dish each episode. So, and then so what else they got? They got the controllers and accessories here. They're selling USB controllers for different consoles. Like N64. It's a one-stop shop. You can get your 360 USB controller, but you can use with your Retro-Naut deluxe retro gaming system here. It's just gross. We know it's gross. When you, I guess they're trying to work off the SEO potentially of the Retronauts podcast. I have no idea if they are, but yes. Oh, the deluxe one, you get MS-DOS games too.
Fuck. Ooh.
All right, 650 games for the system. This is good. If you want specific games, just let us know, and we can try to include them in your system. Be understanding that these games might not be as optimized as the games that are included on this list. We will need to make space for this new game you want to add. We will need to make space? What do you think? I'll delete something else out? It's silly. It's egregious. Is that it? It's our scumbag?
And they're advertising it. The picture is just funny. It's an N64 controller sitting on a leather chair in a car.
Oh, you're right. From the main screen. That's interesting. And it's a real N64 controller.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyways.
Is that a Pong knob in the middle? What is that knob sitting there?
That's a center console on a car. I don't know what it is, but that's
from this early 70s. What is that? It's a twisty knob.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe like your own heater, your bucket seat heater. Okay, that's an expensive car. All right, anyway. Oh, it's a grand opening sale, by the way.
20% off.
Oh, there's a GameSpot quote. That has to be bullshit. This is the best retro gaming console out on the market right now. Smoothest gameplay, best controllers, and the most refined library. From Jeremy Den at GameSpot. Is there a Jeremy Den from GameSpot? See if he's controversial. Jeremy Den, GameSpot. Is that an actual person? No.
No.
I don't think it's an actual person.
No, I'm not pulling anyone up.
And GameSpot's 2018 holiday or best retro gaming hardware doesn't have any RetroPie bullshit. It has real products on it.
Yeah.
Like wired controllers for Sega Saturn. New controllers. The Hyperkin Duke controllers on this list. The Holy Diver R-Type Returns is on this list. The Hyperkin Mega Retron. Real products, not garbage.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's interesting, I guess. The Hyperkin Ultra Game Boy's on this list. Did that ever come out?
Nope.
That never came out. Interesting. All right, so they made up a quote allegedly by a guy that doesn't exist. Is that right?
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is maybe it's a guy who commented on an ad in there or something like that.
You can't say the person's from GameSpot. All right, this is a fun. I'm glad I found that. That's sort of the cherry on top of this Scumbag Seller of the Week.